Marjorie Taylor Greene can't stop stoking intra-MAGA warfare. Her moves look crazy, but I think she's got a secret agenda. Will her schemes work? I'm Amanda Marcotte. Welcome to Standing Room Only. Buckle up, nerds. She's running for president. That was my first thought anyway, after reading a recent glowing profile of Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene in the New York Times. Yes, the journalist Annie Carney admitted that Marge is something of a joke and known for making bigoted remarks and amplifying QAnon. But mostly, she portrays Marjorie as the next big thing in American politics. Marge sat down for a long interview. She's portrayed as an iconoclast and a force to be reckoned with. She even got some progressives to say nice things about her. Most importantly, Marjorie gets to portray herself as a fresh break from the past. Carney writes things like Marjorie is a powerful free agent, or that she feels no obligation to anyone in Washington. All that is especially resonant right now. Voters across the spectrum are increasingly fed up with our existing leadership. There is one big exception to that rule. Republicans still love Donald Trump. But as much as he likes to tease running for an illegal third term, we all have eyes, and we can see he's real old.
I'm very careful, when I walk downstairs, like I'm on stairs, like these stairs, I walk very slowly. Nobody has to set a record. Just try not to fall.
He's gonna die soon. He's gonna die soon. Show me his hands again. One more conspiracy theory about how many strokes he's had, please. We covered all this a few weeks ago with our Katie Miller video. Her show convinced me that her husband, Stephen Miller, wants to run for president.
Stephen, AOC is you're her favorite target, apparently, on Instagram. Check this out.
He looks like he is angry about the fact that he's 4'10". And he looks like he is so mad that he is 4'10", that he's taking that anger out at any other population possible.
Now we have MTG sitting down for a lengthy New York Times profile. That's a signal to wealthy donors. Here's what's wild. On paper, Marge is actually doing a lot of smart things. She recognizes that Trump won by presenting himself as a break from tired Republican politics. Granted, he did it by lying.
Under my administration, we're fighting against the lobbyists, the special interests, and the corrupt Washington politics.
It's horrifying. It's horrifying. Our government is for sale.
Is the president concerned that major corporations were giving money to somebody very close to him at a time when they had business before the federal government?
I haven't heard the president express any specific concerns.
Project 2025, I've never read it. I don't want to read it because that way I can be honest with you.
President Trump now publicly backs Project 2025 as he proposes using the shutdown to slash the size of the federal workforce.
I mean, I do believe he didn't read Project 2025. I don't think he reads anything. But I think she's delusional if she thinks Republicans are going to nominate her for president. And the reason is unfortunately obvious. She's a woman. MAGA will never accept a woman as their leader. I'll talk about this more during Pass the Mic with my guest, Laura Bassett. Marge gets the idea, however. Say a bunch of stuff that puts you at odds with Republican orthodoxy. That way you can look like an outsider who may even drain the swamp.
It's called the swamp for a reason, because the American people see the government as a place where they call swamp creatures. They think they never leave. Our elected Republican Speaker, Mike Johnson, has aided and abetted the Democrats and the Biden administration in destroying our country. The shame falls on the people in power over the past several decades that protected the monster, Jeffrey Epstein. It's grieved me to watch the arguments and debates take place among my colleagues and even the administration.
Do you expect you're going to get a little pushback from the administration for getting involved in this?
Oh, I got a lot of pushback. I see the shutdown completely different from maybe my party leadership. I'm actually putting the blame on the speaker
and Leader Thune in the Senate. This should not be happening.
So you're putting the blame on the leadership of your party?
Absolutely. We control the House. We control the Senate. We have the White House.
In August, Greene told the Daily Mail that she's not sure if the Republicans are leaving her or if she's not relating to them as much. Just last week, she lambasted Republican leadership on X for not having a plan to stop Americans' healthcare premiums from doubling. As the New Yorker reported last year, being the anti-Republican Republican makes Marjorie a lot of money. MAGA Republicans hate every GOP leader not named Trump. They love giving their money to someone who trolls their own party. And let's face it, it's fun watching her be a bee in their bonnet. She is a conspiracy theorist, of course, and that's the reason that liberals hate her more than they hate most Republicans.
I started looking up things on the internet, asking questions like most people do every day. Use Google. And I stumbled across something, and this was at the end of 2017, called QAnon.
The deep state tries to take control of the decisions in our government.
President Trump is the first president, yes, the first president in a very long time that is not deep state controlled. We had witnessed 9/11 and the so-called plane that crashed into the Pentagon. It's odd, there's never any evidence shown for a plane in the Pentagon. MS-13 was basically like, they were kind of the henchmen of the Obama administration.
And I asked the question earlier today, is this something like Biden's mark of the beast?
But now we have Nancy Pelosi's gazpacho police spying on members of Congress.
Yes, she said gazpacho, a delicious cold soup.
In theory, though, this isn't a problem. After all, Trump is himself a giant conspiracy theorist. If anything, that's helped him win over marginal voters. You know, the people that don't want to think they're conservative but are attracted to QAnon or anti-vaccine conspiracy theories. But let's be real, men can get away with this stuff in a way that women just can't. People are willing to give men the benefit of the doubt. When Trump says crazy stuff, a lot of people assume that he just can't be that stupid.
I said, well, let's see how we say that. I said, Menafin.
Look how many people believe Trump's lies about Tylenol or his claims that there's a war in Portland. Men can say asinine things and people still think that they're geniuses. Marjorie is a woman though, and so when she says stupid crap, people see it for what it is.
Yes, she said gazpacho, a delicious cold soup.
Women aren't afforded the presumption of intelligence. If anything, it's the opposite. Women's intelligence is often underrated, especially by conservatives. And maybe you don't believe me. I am a woman after all. I'm used to people reflexively assuming I'm wrong. But the polls back me up. I love data. See, if Greene wanted to run for Senate in Georgia against the incumbent Democrat, Senator John Ossoff, she would lose by 17 or 18 points. Marjorie responded to this by saying the polls are fake and that Republican male leadership is out to get her. And that just goes to show that she doesn't see what she's up against. Conservatives hate when you call out sexism like that. To be fair, Republicans aren't entirely averse to female leadership. But it does help if you play into sexist stereotypes.
No career will give women as much joy and fulfillment as raising children.
I make them breakfast burritos and put them in there, and I'm able, like, I have some, put them in tinfoil, and I write them a little note, and they can just put them in the air fryer and heat them up real quick.
The mother being available for that child and being there to nurture that child and being free to do that and not have to leave to go work outside the home is an ideal that we should fight for as a society.
It's a beautiful thing as a wife to be able to encourage your husband, be that biblical wife that you're supposed to be for him.
Just listening to them just makes me want to sort of melt into the floor. Greene has tried to dip her toe into this.
Female athletes should never be forced to compete against mentally ill biological men.
What is a woman? This is an easy answer. We're a creation of God. We may be the weaker sex. We are the weaker sex.
Moms that demand action, you need to grow some balls. And the problem is you don't have balls. We need dads.
She's so confused. Because it's like, women are the weaker sex. I'm I'm gonna do some more pull-ups. But let's face it, Marge can't sell this shtick. She doesn't have the fundy baby voice. She'd rather be weightlifting than baking cookies. Representative Jasmine Crockett was rude about it, but her insult landed for a reason. And yes, we're gonna show you this clip. You know you wanna see it. You've watched it a million times.
I think your fake eyelashes are messing up.
No,
what you're
ain't
reading.
nothing.
Hold on.
I'm just curious, just to better understand your ruling. If someone on this committee then starts talking about somebody's bleach blonde, bad built butch body, that would not be engaging in personalities, correct?
A what now?
Chairman.
I love both Raskin and Comer's reactions.
A what now?
It's like, we were told if we let women in Congress that it wouldn't be like this. And you're like, oh, but they were all sorority girls. Anyway, if I'm being honest, Marge's bleach blonde butch vibe is the best thing about her. I would not want to get into a fight with her. If she was a liberal, we'd be all like, yes, queen. She's entitled, loud, and mean. In theory, MAGA voters should love that. And they do love a mean girl if she's going after people they hate. They're all for Pam Bondi or Kristi Noem when they're attacking liberals. They even love it when MTG sticks it to Republicans they don't like. But while they might like a woman being an attack dog, they want her on a leash. When it comes to being top dog, they'll never give the job to a bitch. I'd like to welcome back Laura Bassett. She's a former editor-in-chief at Jezebel. She's a freelance journalist, and she has a newsletter that's well worth reading called Nightcap. Welcome to Standing Room Only, Laura.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
I couldn't think of anybody I want more to talk about Marge.
I love talking about Marge.
She's been getting a lot of attention recently because she's actually trying to set herself apart from the rest of the Republican Party. She won't go after Donald Trump, but she goes after other Republican leaders hard. Like, she is a thorn in the side of Mike Johnson. Just this last week, she was saying that she disagrees with him on healthcare premiums. She doesn't want them doubled.
The whole point is you keep the government open and then we have those discussions. We were always planning to have those discussions in the month of October. That's how the process works. And this is a very complicated issue. There's no way that if four of us can go in a room and just snap our fingers and say, oh, here's the solution, let's get it done. We haven't had time to do that. And so we will, but we have to get the lights back on and get everybody here working again in their committees, through their processes, and on the floor in order to have fruitful.
So what is your take on this? Why does she go after Republican leaders like this?
I mean, I think she sees the writing on the wall, right? Like, Trump is 11 points underwater in Georgia, his popularity, his approval rating, rather, and rural hospitals in Georgia have been shutting down and closing their maternity units due to the Republican healthcare policies. And I think she sees that if she wants to have a career and if the Republicans want to continue staying in power, someone has to split and do something different, right? There's like an sort of anti-incumbency, anti-establishment advantage every 4 years. And if she's interested in being president, if she's interested in being governor of Georgia, I've read both, she can't keep towing the Trump line because it's not popular anymore.
One thing I think is interesting about all the positions she's taken against Republican orthodoxy, it used to be when she started in Congress, she was like, I'm going to be more MAGA, I'm going to be more right-wing.
The most MAGA, yeah.
And now when she tries to distinguish herself, she moves to their left. She called Gaza a genocide. She kind of tried to look like she was moving left on healthcare. The Epstein stuff, she's been like, release the Epstein files.
Yeah.
Why do you think that's the move?
I think that she's accidentally coming into some of these positions not out of moral clarity or any kind of reasonableness, but because she's a conspiracy. Like, for instance, calling Gaza a genocide is not because she cares about Gazans. It's because she personally is an anti-Semitic conspiracy theorist who thinks that Jews are, controlling everything. I think the same with the Epstein files. Like, she's a QAnon person. She believes there's a global cabal of pedophiles that she wants to see exposed, not necessarily because she thinks Trump is in them, but just because, You know, she's been reading QAnon for years and like endorsing these conspiracy theories, and then suddenly, you know, there's a cover up, and that's red meat for her, for someone like her, right? So I think that she ends up kind of looking like she's tacking left, but she's actually the same exact conspiracy theorist kind of nut that she's always been. It just happens to align with some of these positions that the left also agrees with, you know?
Yeah, the New York Times profile of her, you know, is a New York Times profile. So, of course, they're like glowy and all this stuff. And then they got a bunch of progressives to say nice things about her. And it was mostly about the Gaza thing.
Right.
And I think that is a perilous position to take, because it's like, well, she is saying the right things, but for the wrongest reasons.
Exactly. She's saying the right things for the wrong reasons. I mean, I guess I would give her kudos for just having the courage to buck her party right now when so few others are doing it. But like you said, it's just all for the wrong reasons, you know? So it's hard to like give it to Marge, you know?
Except for the part where she's entertaining.
She is quite entertaining, right? It used to be kind of her and Lauren Boebert that I was trying to figure out who was the worst woman in Congress. And now you never hear Boebert anymore, and MTG is kind of emerging as this kind of important figure, I guess, to them. And so that's kind of interesting to watch.
Yeah, they don't catfight anymore. Lauren Boebert ran off to be with Kid Rock.
Exactly. I guess they learned from that weird spat, whatever that was, yeah.
And it gets to something. In the monologue, I actually say that she's making a lot of smart moves. I think that Marjorie Taylor Greene, because she says so many cuckoo bananas things, people think she's an idiot. And that's a reasonable position. But I think she's actually smarter than she seems. But I want to hear your opinion on this. Is she stupid, savvy? Where do you fall on the, like, where's her IQ thing?
Yeah, I've gone back and forth on it because she has said some just incredibly dumb things and fallen for some incredibly dumb conspiracy. You know, she talks about chemtrails and talks about Jewish space lasers and says some just really off-the-wall things. But at the same time, she's smart enough to kind of read the tea leaves right now politically and see what Georgians want and see the hospitals closing and kind of pivot to position herself in more power, you know? So, like, I do think at least politically, she's pretty smart, you know? IQ-wise, I couldn't really say.
Yeah.
You told me off camera that she had a good GPA or something, but I didn't know about that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know exactly what it was, but I think she was a good student at University of Georgia. But I think it does get to something that a lot of people don't understand about conspiracy theorists, about the way that people on the right can be so wrong. I think it's just very easy to say, well, they're stupid.
Right.
But it's actually often about an information bubble problem. And I think she just kind of lives in her own information bubble. It's like her TikTok feed is just conspiracy theories.
Yeah, she's steeped in it. I think she probably did get really swept up in the QAnon thing. And, you know, if the people around her believe it, and it's obviously been a smart politically for her, she keeps getting reelected in this district. So maybe she's just where the rest of them are with some of these bonkers theories, and it's advantageous to her to get on board, you know?
Yeah, so one of the other things that I talked about in the monologue is that while Marjorie Taylor Greene is doing what I think is a lot of smart things, like she's moving on issues that I think the Republican base is moving on. She's setting herself apart from the GOP. If she was a man, I think this would be working out very well for her.
Yes.
She would be the like front runner for the presidential nomination, but she's not a man. But am I overreading this? Is it that simple?
It is that simple, yeah. I don't think Republicans would ever elect a woman president. We can't even get Democrats to do it. So, you know, it's a deeply sexist party. I think they like having women in certain positions of power that are below the main man. You know, like they like having Pam Bondi. They like having like a spokeswoman in Caroline Leavitt. They like having an attack dog in Kristi Noem, because those are the right kinds of women in power, right? As we've talked about before, they have the MAGA face, they're telegenic, they're performatively feminine, but also kind of mean, and everything is in service of Trump, and they help Republicans with optics, you know? You can't say it's a party that hates women if there's all these women in the ranks, you know? Republicans like sort of an accomplice in a woman. They don't want the woman to actually tell them what to do or to, God forbid, be able to do more push-ups than them, which MTG certainly can. And so, yeah, no, I don't think, remember Carly Fiorina? Trump called her ugly, just straight up called her ugly. And then she dropped out with 4% approval rating in like February of the primary. And Nikki Haley lost every single state except Vermont. Like, just women can't get any traction for president ever in that party.
Yeah, there's zero doubt that if she was in a primary debate with all these other Republicans, at least one of them would call her ugly.
Oh, certainly, you know, it would probably be Trump.
Oh, well, she's not gonna run against Trump.
Right, sure, you meant in the actual debate, but I mean, he would definitely come out the second she showed any kind of like obvious presidential aspirations, and he's gonna say something about her face. I would bet money on it. Yeah. Maybe the other ones are a little more disciplined in their approach, but yeah, I do think that because she is not like conventionally attractive and conventionally telegenic. She doesn't wear makeup. She doesn't do any of the, you know, she's not the kind of woman that Republicans want to see on a national stage, and they don't want any woman in the presidency, so it's a non-starter.
Yeah, and we were talking about this before we started filming, but again, I'm never, you gotta give it to Marge. But what is funny is like how there is that piece of me that admires that she is willing to not wear makeup, that she's willing to just be intensely muscular, and for some reason she just does not care about these traditional Republican beauty standards.
It is interesting, isn't it? Like being a Republican from Georgia and women in the South, you know, I'm from the South, I'm from Louisiana. It's really hard to escape those sort of ideals, especially as a Republican. And yeah, she just does not give a crap. She just goes out barefaced and, you know, and strong, and she's just like, yeah, what of it? I do kind of respect that, you know?
Yeah, if she was a Democrat, people would be like, go for it.
Yeah.
But she's Republican, so we want to like make it look bad, and it's just, no, that's cool.
Yeah, I mean, you almost want to call her a feminist, and then you hear the things that come out of her mouth, and it's like, okay, so you're not a feminist, but you kind of perform like one, you know?
Yeah, and in fact, they called her kind of a feminist in that New York Times profile.
Yeah.
So again, I think there's a strategic, her trying to like look different and hoping that's going to work for her, you know?
Yeah.
It won't, but.
It won't, unfortunately. I think it's a non-starter. I don't think she'll get anywhere close to the presidency. But we'll see, you know? The Republicans are hungry for a savior right now. They see the writing on the wall. Trump is sinking. They don't want the whole party to go down with the ship. And none of the men around are courageous enough to stand up to him or to break from him at all. They're all shaking in their boots, terrified of Trump. And she's the only person with the guts to do it, you know? And so that is, you know, kind of impressive.
It is one of those things where you're like, I'll never vote for a woman. But then you picture her on a debate stage with J.D. Vance and Stephen Miller and Josh Hawley and Marco Rubio, and you're like, maybe they will.
I mean, it's slim pickings over there, you know? J.D. Vance is just so Stephen Miller, I can't imagine. I just don't think she would be very good in a debate.
No, when I say she's smart, I think she's savvy.
She's savvy.
She's not quick on her feet at all.
No, and she's not like a compelling orator either. You know what I mean? Like she's not like charismatic in that kind of a way. I think she would get up and be a bit of a live wire and say some really weird stuff, you know?
Yeah, and if you're Trump, you can do that. If you're a man, you can do that. If you're a woman, everyone's just like, what is this bimbo saying?
Unelectable, you know?
Exactly. Yeah. So, mic drop question. It's Marjorie Taylor Greene. We talk about her politics, but let's just talk about her workouts.
Let's talk about her workouts.
Because they are impressive. My question to you, would you work out with Marjorie Taylor Greene?
Absolutely, 100%. In fact, that is the space that I would prefer her to occupy in my life, is just this woman at the gym that does chaotic, intense pull-ups with the weirdest form I've ever seen, but apparently that's a very normal CrossFit type form that we've all seen the videos. She's strong as an ox. I would like for her to give me some pointers on powerlifting. That would be great. And we could just stay out of politics.
That would be awesome. You've convinced me, because I was like, I would be afraid of her.
Yeah.
I would be afraid that she seems very competitive. I'm afraid she would be mean to me.
Oh, certainly, yeah.
But, you know, maybe I would like that.
At the very least, it would be fun to see her do all of that stuff IRL.
That's true.
You
That's
know,
true.
this would be like a show. It'd be like a live theater performance.
Yeah, I still don't fully understand why she decided to be a politician, because it's clear she would just rather be a gym rat.
That is where her passion lies. It's very obvious. And I would encourage her deeply to maybe consider a career change.
All right, thank you for all that. So one more time, Laura, hype yourself to the standing room only audience.
I am Laura Bassett. I was editor-in-chief of Jezebel. I was a politics reporter for many years, and I write Nightcap newsletter on Substack. It's an irreverent, I hope funny at times, newsletter about politics.
And don't forget, folks, like and subscribe. It really helps us out. And stick around for Encore. The song of the week is a new one. Hey folks, it's Banned Books Week, so I decided to film this week's Encore in front of the local library. I use this library all the time. I recommend that you yourself check out libraries. I think a lot of people have fallen off, and it's a great way to show your support for the First Amendment during Banned Books Week. But we're here to talk about a song. This week's Song of the Week for Encore is Spiders by Lola Young. It is off her new album, I'm Only Fucking Myself. I really like this new album. Lola Young has been getting a lot of comparisons to Amy Winehouse because she has the same manager, a similar background, and unfortunately similar struggles with mental health issues. We had tickets to see Lola later this year here in Philadelphia, and unfortunately she had to cancel that show because she collapsed on stage on the first leg of her tour. I'm not sure what's wrong with her, but we know that she's been having a lot of struggles with addiction, mental health issues, and we just really hope that she gets better. I'm sorry that I won't be able to see her, but I saw her last year at the Austin City Limits Festival. She was fantastic, so emotional. She just made me cry. I wouldn't say she actually sounds like Amy Winehouse. Amy drew on a lot of old-fashioned jazz singers, your Sarah Vaughan's, your Ella Fitzgerald's, and Lola is much more of a R&B pop singer, but her songs are very funny. They're very honest. They're very emotional. I think they really speak to the way that Gen Z is a generation that really wants to say everything with their full chest, right? And Lola Young is very much that. She just hangs it all on the outside. I've been following her career for a while now, so I was really ecstatic to see that she has a new record out. And I put it on, and it is exactly as good as I wanted it to be. There were parts where I was tearing up. It's just, I don't know, she just does it for me. If you found the new Taylor Swift album a little underwhelming, and you want a new pop artist to get into, you could definitely do worse than Lola Young. So check it out. If you want more Standing Room Only episodes, please hit the subscribe button on YouTube. Standing Room Only started as a newsletter, and it's free to read. Click the link to subscribe. I love tips. These political battles are playing out in our local communities, your family, your school, your neighborhood. If you have a story, go ahead and drop me a line, leave it in comments, and don't forget to subscribe.